We're taking a closer look at one country that maybe not be so well known for tourism, but it's investing in it in a huge way. Saudi Arabia is spending billions of dollars to attract travelers as part of its bid to diversify its economy. Some investment highlights include the King Salman Airport, which is set to open in 2027, and the recently launched Suda Peaks, a luxury project set on the kingdom's highest peak. Now, the country's confident that its heavy spending will pay off, aiming to woo some 70 million international visitors a year by 2030, and lifting its total annual trip target 150 million from 100 million by the end of this decade. For more, let's bring in Mahmoud Abdulhadi, the Saudi Deputy Minister of Tourism Destinations Enablement. Welcome. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Sure. So, tourism, obviously a critical part of Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030 plan. We've seen international tourists arriving. That's a big jump this year. But how are investors responding?
Investors are responding quite well. We've seen a large influx of investment into the sector over the last 3 years. It's been transformative, and we have a very healthy pipeline of investment, both from government-sponsored projects, but as well as the private sector, which is really, really important, because our aim is to create this visitable, sustainable, investable environment for the tourism sector. And we believe that the private sector is really the core of this, particularly with the small and medium enterprises, but also the big, large investors who will be creating a lot of the destinations and the assets that will be visited.
So I know the government has said that they're looking to attract $100 billion annually in foreign direct investment by 2030. Are you on target to meet this, and how much of this would be earmarked for tourism?
I think I can talk about the tourism piece. So, we have very ambitious targets as part of Vision 2030. It is a very transformative project that we are on. It is creating new economic sectors, and tourism is certainly one of those main sectors. I mean, we target to become the second largest contributor to the GDP after the hydrocarbon sector by 2030. So we have very ambitious targets. We're certainly within the tourism space on target to hit all of our goals. As you've seen, we've raised our visitation targets from 100 million to 150 million, only because we are being, shall we say, performing highly.
And who are the biggest investors in Saudi's tourism industry?
So there's a variety. There's obviously a large, as with any real estate, I mean, if we're talking about the large investments, it's mainly real estate, and in any market, the main real estate investors would tend to be domestic. But we're seeing a lot of international interest, particularly from European, US, and we're also seeing the beginning of some Asian investment into the region, so or into the kingdom, I should say. So it is a very diverse group, and we're looking to support investment wherever it comes from.
So the thing that I find so interesting about tourism in Saudi Arabia, it's so young. It's such an unknown quantity, except for potentially religious tourists, right? And then the same for investors. So, how do you calm investors' questions if they say, well, why should I invest in Saudi Arabia, not, say, the UAE or even Southeast Asia?
As a former banker, it's a numbers game. We're showing very strong performance. The numbers you had on screen a little bit earlier, I mean, the spend figures for those are phenomenal. I mean, we're talking over $50 billion in spend in 2022. And that's direct contribution to the businesses, which is also direct contribution to national GDP. So the business opportunity is there. The facilitation that we offer as a government for investment into the sector is second to none. We will work with investors from the moment they express an interest all the way to when their assets are live, and then from there maintaining that relationship and making sure that they are in good shape, that they are aligned with what we are trying to achieve in terms of visitation, in terms of our segmentation, etc., etc., etc. So we offer a very, very strong support network, a very strong support infrastructure for investors to come in, and not just in the big cities. I mean, even outside of the three large main urban areas, we're looking at our mountain destinations, at our sun and sea destinations, at our culture and heritage destinations, and we all look at that as part of one big ecosystem.